What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Phoenix here, and welcome back to a brand new Marvel Spider-Man 2 informational video. And in today's video, I want to touch on how Kraven could be the catalyst for Marvel Spider-Man 2, as John Paquette said. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button down below, hit the subscribe button as well. And without that, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, as we all know, in Marvel Spider-Man 2, Kraven is going to be the catalyst for everything that is going to happen in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And along with that, not to mention the fact that we got this article that goes over that, and it's from the GameRanks.com, and it says, as a man with wealth and a private army, it isn't hard to see Kraven as the instigator of chaos in New York. Insomniac Games was on hand to talk about Marvel Spider-Man 2 on this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Among other things, they talked about the big setting of the game and why it really revolves around Kraven. Now, as you guys know, Kraven's obviously going to be one of them, and with the fact that he has a lot of money involved, he could possibly, do a lot of stuff that he can do. And on top of that, to mention for the fact that he has an army as well, it's just crazy. But following that, it says, in Insomniac's version of the Spider-Man universe, Kraven gets a grim real-life update, as instead of a lone wolf survivalist type, this Kraven seems to be a millionaire, high-tech, private army type. It isn't hard to see Wagner Group or Silver Corp as potential inspiration for this version of Kraven, though we doubt Insomniac would ever admit that. They describe Kraven as the catalyst of the events of the game, which isn't far off from the last game, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, as you guys know, in Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, it was Simon Krieger that was the main catalyst for everything that was going on. Now, with Kraven, I can really see that happening. We can see that happening as well. I'm not gonna lie, I see that happening. Because, as you guys know, for every single one of the Spider-Man games so far, there happens to be one villain that turns out to be a side villain that you guys think like is a main villain. Like, for example, I'm going to use Mr. Negative, for example. In Marvel Spider-Man 2018, we thought Mr. Negative was the main guy, and after that, it turns out that it was Doc Ock and Oscorp behind everything else that was going on, because they did a huge twist with that as well. But following that, as you guys know, John Paquette also said this.
We started with Kraven. He's our catalyst for the story, right? Like before the game starts, he's halfway around the world being Kraven, hunting, trying to find the ultimate prey. And he watched from afar as the events of the first two games occurred. And he decided, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in New York City. That might be my new hunting ground. So, like I said, Kraven's a catalyst for everything happening. When he comes to New York City, a lot of things start going wrong.
And there we go. We now know for a fact that we now have official confirmation that John Paquette has officially said that Kraven has been in the world this whole entire time. So from the guessing, it seems like Kraven's been in the game since the beginning. So it would make a lot of sense. But following that, in this article, it says, Kraven has been going around the world looking for things to hunt during the events of the previous games. But he has been aware of all the action happening in New York this whole time. By the time of the game, he decides he will finally be going to New York to check out the action there. Which, as we saw in the trailer, he traveled to New York and he decided to see what was going on over there. So that's what ended up happening right there. So he's aware of what is going on in both of the games, which leads us to Marvel Spider-Man 2. So he knows everything that's been going on. He knows about the Sinister Six breakout. He knows about, potentially the DLCs as well. But following that, it says, Insomniac doesn't go into more detail, but they then point out that Kraven's presence also gets the other supervillains to surface, namely Lizard and Venom, which we all know for a fact that I feel like, and this is me, I feel like at some point, since Kraven's going to be there, it looks like he's going to be hunting Venom. I'm just going to be honest with you, because he's coming there to hunt every single villain and superhero in New York City. But following that, it says, this game's version of the Lizard doesn't make his human alter ego, Kirk Connors, a teacher of Peter Parker's. Technically, he also appeared in the first Marvel Spider-Man game, but only as a side note. Now, there is a collectible in the game that tells us that Peter has potentially fought Dr. Connors as the Lizard. So we know that for a fact. But we don't know for a fact that like how we fought him the first time around. So to us, this is probably our first time ever encountering and fighting the lizard. But following that, it says this Kurt had been partially cured by Peter as he didn't want to turn into the lizard. It's possible that Kraven's meddling in New York tended to bring out the baddies that he could hunt. And that's what he intended to do with Kurt. So my guess for a fact, like in that whole entire gameplay sequence that we got with that hole in there, keep in mind, notice how it says that Connors is partially cured. So there is still a hint of the lizard brain inside of Connors right now. So from the looks of it, it seems like that whole entire thing with Kraven coming, probably awoken up the lizard side of his brain, and he started to go for, the lizard serum. But following that, it says Venom isn't Venom throughout the whole entire game. As we know, Marvel Spider-Man 2 will re-examine the alien costume saga, one of the classic storylines that has been re-examined every time a new show or video game decides to use Venom. We already know this for a fact because they did it in Ultimate Spider-Man. Every single time when a new show comes out, every single time like a new Spider-Man TV show comes out, they gotta make sure that they re-examine the whole entire symbiote and put their own spin on it, and this is what Insomniac's doing here. Now, do we know for a fact that it's an alien? Yes, it has officially been confirmed that it's been an alien, and it's also been there since the beginning. Following that, it says Kraven's role in the symbiote's appearance isn't clear yet, but if Kraven didn't bring the symbiote to New York himself, he could be creating the chaos that gives the symbiote to assert its lethality towards the world. Now, this is one that I 100% do agree with because, as we saw in the trailer, it seemed as if Venom's being hunted by Kraven, is what I'm guessing, because you guys saw him jump down, you guys saw all those vehicles around him. So my guess for the fact that Kraven is creating all this chaos to have Venom pop up out of nowhere so he can hunt him, so he can capture him. But following that, it also wraps up by saying, could this be the most powerful version of Kraven we've seen yet? Given how Kraven's most famous storyline, The Last Hunt, played out, we know that Kraven has already proven himself superior to Spidey, and Insomniac seems to have something truly special planned for this villain that might even make him rival Venom. Now, 100% I do agree with that. We might end up seeing a Kraven versus Venom fight in here based on all of the stuff that we've been seeing, mainly in that whole entire Venom part at the end there, and also in the screenshot. Because in that screenshot, we did see one of Kraven's drones go down. So that could be a hint as to Venom versus Kraven could be happening. So that would be amazing if that happens. Let me know what you guys think down below. Since Kraven is going to be the clear catalyst, what would you like to see from him along with that? But anyways, it's your boy Phoenix, and I'll see you guys later with another spectacular Spidey webtastic banger.